All right, so let's make a formal introduction for our listener. Good morning, Esteban. My name is Claudio. I'm calling you from Washington, D.C., from the studios in Fairfax City. We're very humble and grateful that Esteban Sehinkman accepted our invitation to our show. Esteban, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks a lot, Claudio. It's a pleasure to be here.
No problem,
This
man.
conversation with you.
It's same here, man. So, with the pandemic, we live in crazy time for now over a year or so where it's difficult to go out. Some people have received the vaccine, some people they don't want to accept the vaccine. And as a touring musician like yourself, it's hard to do gigs and shows. How the pandemic is affecting your life, your creativity, your inability to do shows, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I suppose it's a big change for everybody. I see the same situation all over the world. The musicians, it's like we are facing similar situations everywhere. And for me, this break was kind of positive,
Yeah.
because I had the chance to develop and to improve my home studio. And I have to tell you that I'm working here and I'm enjoying the experience. So, and I'm doing a lot of collaborations with other musicians, maybe more than before.
Yeah.
And well, I miss the gigs and gigging around and all that stuff. But I think that this is a good time. It's a good time to go to different places. I'm practicing, developing my sound. So for the crisis, there is always an opportunity to do something else. And I'm working on new recordings and new albums and some stuff, so I can't complain. And I'm teaching online using, I don't know, these applications that we are using now. So it's like a big change, but I see many positive things regarding our work. I mean, it sucks. It's a fucking pandemic, it sucks. But other than that, the situation can be good, can be okay.
Yeah, so many people have died though too.
Yeah.
We are lucky to be alive, but how many people have in Argentina like 30,000, in Chile like 30,000. It's been a difficult year for everybody. Were you born like in a musical family? When you began, playing piano, guitar at the time?
No, well, no. My parents, both of them are doctors. No, I don't have a musical background in my family, but I started playing in high school because I wanted to play in a rock and roll band.
Oh.
And I remember clearly because I took my first lessons, piano lessons, in 1990 during the World Cup, Italy.
Wow.
So I remember that because I had a superposition of the class with the game against Russia, Argentina, Russia. So
yeah.
We have to move the schedule a little bit. And that was the beginning, I wanted to play in a band with my friends at school. And so I started taking lessons at that time. It took me a while, to understand how it works, music for me. It wasn't easy at the beginning. But well, with patience and the keyboard synthesizers, that was a place where I felt good and I had a chance to express some ideas and certain sound.
Did you have, when you finished high school, when did you realize that, music is going to be my thing and my career and I want to give it a try, versus your parents, both doctors, telling you, no need, you need to study, go to medical school and music is a waste of time, you will not make any money. Was there a discussion with your parents about that kind of stuff?
A little
Or
bit,
not?
a little bit. But when I finished high school, I was working, doing something else. I used to work in tourism. So it was like a period of time that I was doing both things, like working, doing something else, and studying music. So I think that was kind of a pain reliever for my parents in a way, and then I was absolutely decided to keep going with the music, For me at that time was very important I bought a synthesizer, a Korg 01W with a sequencer.
Yeah.
And using that sequencer, I could play my own recordings, with 16 channels. It was like having in my place like a little orchestra or a band.
Yeah.
And that was very important for me to survive, to the first 5 or 6 years of studying music that, I had no idea. But, well, I wanted to do it, when you have that instinct going in strong in one direction.
You do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of music were you at the time when you finished high school, and what kind of music, what kind of bands were you listening at the time?
Well, during high school, I went to school at the end of the 80s.
Yeah.
And then beginning of the 90s. So we had all that music going on, 80s music that was great. Good sound, good compositions, a lot of international music, but also music from Argentina.
Yeah.
After the military government that we had here until 1983, that was a very dark era for us. After that, it was a big explosion of music in Argentina, very big, with festivals in the street for thousands of people and bands like Soda Stereo, Virus, Charly Garcia, Spinetta, and many talented musicians were pushing the music forward, and we as kids at that time were absolutely amazing. Everything was amazing at that time. I think that's why I decided to be a musician, and talking about bands, I don't know. Pescado Rabioso, it's an amazing band from Spinetta, Cerú Girán, que es Charly Garcia, music from here, and also international, all the 80s, Pink Floyd, music from the 70s too, The Doors. I'm a big fan of Ray Manzarek and that energy too. The Rolling Stones.
Of course.
Yeah.
All the big names, man. Yeah.
All the big names and music from the 60s like Beatles and Beach Boys, but also Brazilian music. I'm a big fan of Antonio Carlos Jobim and his melodic approach. It's amazing. And world music. So many things going on.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then you are supposed to kind of soft rock. You at the time you decided, well, I like kind of jazz. It's my kind of thing. You were inclined to do that kind of genre.
Yeah, well, jazz came later.
Yeah.
After I went to school, musical school, I started listening to the CDs or emblematic albums, jazz. And for me, it was very shocking. I love it from the first time because of the rhythm, the groove, the energy, the improvisation, the sound. So I started listening the records and trying to do some transcriptions to get it close or closer. And well, it took me a while. I went to school here in Buenos Aires, and after 4 or 5 years, I decided to move to Boston, to Berklee College of Music, to continue my studying there.
It was difficult to get accepted into the Berklee. I know at the time, as we were talking before, I used to live there in Boston. At the time, it was difficult to.
No, not at that time. You know,
No.
At that time you had to apply or send a submission. That was the old school envelope with the application forms and maybe a cassette.
No.
But it was fine. Actually, at the time that I went to Berklee, many people from Argentina went there too, because the money change was peso, dollar was good too at that time. So it was easier to live and to make a living there in the States than now. For example, it's impossible right now, nowadays.
Unless you get like a scholarship or something, right? Unless you get like a scholarship, right? So otherwise it's very expensive to pay for the school.
Definitely, yes.
Well, so a lot of people from Argentina, well, people that you knew or before, or you met them?
Yes, some people that I knew, and then I met a lot of people there. And it's almost 20 years ago that I graduated from Berklee, and I'm still in touch here with all my friends from at that time, and all fantastic musicians. And we are like a community here, and we play gigs together. And it was a great spirit, a nice place to be at the end of the 90s and in Boston, studying jazz or music in general. It was pretty cool, really nice.
Yeah, I have interviewed several people from Berklee, and I know the program well. So it's a very, very intensive program, and but you have the best teachers. The very, 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 to be a teacher there, you need to be kind of very talented. Now with the technology, it's different, right? But at the time, was.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was very hard for me coming from Argentina. It was a different level, and I remember that for the 3 years I was there, I was studying and practicing the whole day through, and everybody else was doing the same. It was challenging. It was nice, really nice. I really appreciate that way of American universities approach the contents and the way they teach, like the whole staff of the college or the university. They know the program the same way. They try to communicate that, and in jazz, especially for jazz, that is like American most amazing music, maybe for me. They have many things to say, and it's nice to be there, like in the main kitchen of the music, starting with players, jazz players. Suddenly you are surrounded by them, and it's pretty nice at that time of when you are young.
Did you go to a lot of shows there? So many groups come to Boston, so we see a lot of concerts.
Especially for jazz,
Yeah.
Especially for jazz, yeah. I saw many great musicians: McCoy Tyner, Keith Jarrett, Elvin Jones, Jazz Machine, Michael Brecker. It was pretty nice, pretty amazing. At that time, I was so involved with jazz that I didn't have the the time to go to other kind of concerts. Thing that I regret now, you know. For example, I missed Radiohead playing there.
Oh man.
99, 98, you know. But I didn't know they were playing in the city. I was practicing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, you are focusing one thing and you miss
You
the
missed the
rest
other
of the
stuff.
world.
And then when you finish school, right?
Yeah.
Instead of coming back to Argentina, to Buenos Aires, where your family is, you decided to venture and stay, and you moved to Chicago, right? So feel free to elaborate with
Yeah, well, I had a friend in Boston, an American singer, vocalist, Steve Evans. He was a pretty cool guy, great singer, and he was a friend of mine at that time. We used to play some gigs around the area, and he said to me, "Man, you should come to Chicago, you know. I know some people, we can get some gigs. We put a band together. It's a nice city. We can work there." I say, okay,
why not?
why not?
Make some money.
Yeah, I went to the city. For me, it's an amazing city to
Yeah.
live. Beautiful city, but also with an amazing musical scene, you know. So many musicians in Chicago, and with a lot of history and places, and so it was a great time. I lived there for 2 years. I had an amazing time. I met a lot of people, musicians. Great experience. It's like my second city.
Really? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Do you go back
Yeah.
often? You go back to United
I
States?
went back a couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in 2018, I went back and I did a recording. I did an album there, playing trio with some musicians that I used to play before a long time ago. So yeah, I hope that I can keep going and to maintain that
Relationship.
thing
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. Chicago is very well known from jazz and blues. There are many clubs, many venues that you can that just dedicate to jazz. You know. So
Yes, it is.
yeah. And then you at the time you end up releasing your first album, La Espuma de los Días. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes. Well, I did that recording in Chicago.
Yeah.
That's my quintet. I did that recording in 2002.
Yeah.
And I was pretty close regarding the music with traditional jazz at that time. You know, my guide at that time was, I don't know, Blue Note Records.
Wow. Yeah.
ECM. Yes, I was into that kind of sound with my own style.
Yeah.
Keeping the style and the possibilities of each musician. But it was a great, an amazing experience to do that recording there. After that, like 1 year later, I came back to Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
That recording for me was like the end of a cycle too.
Yeah. If you have had the opportunity, would you have stayed here in the United States, or you were missing your family, parents, and?
You know, after 5 years of staying there, I was ready for a change.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I was ready for a change. I don't know. At that time, I didn't think that coming back to Buenos Aires was for a long time that is happening now. At that time, I felt that everything was possible, you know, to live here and there, it was easy. But also the September 11 situation was a pain in the ass, you know, for all the visa and all that kind of stuff was getting harder and harder every time. So I have to tell that situation didn't help at all. Yeah. But I came back to Buenos Aires and I felt good, you know, with the creative perspective about music. And I feel that renovation, so it was fine, to come back. I put together another group, in this case a sextet, and I started writing music for that formation, and it was good, And all the years after that, I had the chance to develop my music here. So I cannot say that I missed the chance of, at that time, of staying in America. Now, 20 years after that, well, I would like to go back and forth, like 2 months here, 3 months there, Maybe in the future after pandemic times.
You will go back, yeah. Do you, and then you you end up releasing your second album at the time, right? Buffalo, is that correct?
Yeah, and that's also a jazz album, but related with some folkloric Argentine music too.
Yeah.
Like I have the mix of folkloric stuff and some tango with jazz and improvisation with more traditional composition. And I started playing piano Rhodes there, that album. I had the chance to buy a Rhodes here in like 500 kilometers from Buenos Aires. I had a friend living in Santa Fe city, that it's another city from Buenos Aires in Argentina. And the guy called me, hey, I have a Rhodes here, piano Rhodes. Do you want to come to check it out? And that was a big change for me, to come back to electronic music after being focused on piano, jazz piano, for like more than a decade.
Yeah.
With that instrument, I start coming back to synthesizers and electric pianos.
And you like that? It was difficult to adjust, going from traditional piano to keyboard?
No, it was, I love it,
Yeah.
I love it. I didn't know how it was a way of that work for so long, For me, it was a surprise to feel good there. And after that, I start to dig in modern synthesizers. And the one that came after the Rhodes was the North Stage. North Stage, that at that time, at the beginning, when it came out, it was a new release, was an amazing synthesizer. Now everybody uses that, again, it's all over. Did you see that red synthesizer at the gigs? The red one?
No.
You see it,
I need to check it out and look at it.
Yeah.
Look at it. What's the sound of those? How you pronounce it? The M-O-O-G, the Moog or Moog, how you pronounce it?
El Moog.
Yeah, you have access to any of that, or that was before you?
No, I had access to that kind of analogic synthesizers after many years of starting my electronic. I wasn't there when the analogic stuff came out. I was a child, I didn't have a chance to check it out. But I use it now. I have some analogical stuff here, and it's pretty amazing, The sound of that era came back, and now it's like the real stuff. It cannot be replaced in a way.
Yeah. A lot of people, famous recording, came using that from people in the 70s and 80s, from, I don't know, Tangerine Dream, Wendy Carlos, and so many, many great albums that they use that, But I'm quite sure that those equipment they're very expensive nowadays, right? And they're big,
Yeah, well, yeah, both. expensive and big. You know, it's hard to carry them to a gig.
Yeah.
So that's why nowadays we have these like smaller synths.
Smaller things, yeah.
Yeah, that are pretty good too. And very kind. You can play some analogical stuff too, but you can also carry to the gigs. I mean, I go by myself to play a gig. You know, I don't have some people carrying me the equipment. So
you do everything
I have to balance between some equipment from the old times and some new stuff.
And then feel free to elaborate. I think also at the time you formed the, you created the project, the Real Book Argentina, right?
Yeah.
Feel free to elaborate what that is for the people that.
Real Book Argentina, that's a project that compilates, it's like a catalog of Argentine composers. There's a page called realbookargentina.com, and there you will find hundreds of scores of Argentine jazz composers. You know, that's a very open stylistic thing, and everything is there for free download.
Yeah.
And well, I decided to do that because here there is in Argentina a very rich and creative scene, musical scene, and instrumental scene too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I decided to try to put all that music together in a book, to find that space to be all together and to be like a massive critic massive, you know, to push all together. So it's easier to visualize the music from Argentina in that way. Always through lead sheets, you know, written music. So you can print a lead sheet there and you can put it on your musical stand and read a composition. I don't know, for example, Guillermo Klein is an amazing composer who lives in New York, but he's from Argentina. Sergio Mianovich, a lot of great composers, you know. If you want to see something different from the usual and mainstream jazz, American jazz, Gershwin, Cole Porter, that is, everything is fantastic, but you have this, it's like another approach and from a different place, you know, Argentina.
Yeah, I get you. And that is that people buy, or they pay like a fee, or they can download and stuff?
No, you know, it's free download.
Free download, yeah.
Yeah, and also we have an ensemble called the Real Book Argentina Ensemble that we play everything, mainly music coming from that book.
I got you. Oh, that's great. Yeah. And,
so.
Yeah, and before the pandemic, before the pandemic, how many gigs were you doing, like a year, just in Buenos Aires, or you doing outside all over Argentina and some other places in Latin America, or just in Argentina?
Mainly all over Argentina.
Yeah.
Some places in Latin America too.
Yeah.
Depending on the year, maybe I was playing 30 or 40 gigs.
Wow.
25, depending on the year, you know, and the energy. And I play with my own projects, but I also play for another musicians.
Yeah.
So it depends. And now, well, the gigs are smaller, but it's starting to move again. The musical scene and the live concerts are coming back. So that's great news. During the last year, I had one big gig playing music from Astor Piazzolla.
Wow.
It's the anniversary, it's 100 years anniversary for Astor Piazzolla this year. So it's like a big celebration, not only in Argentina, but all over the world. And I had the chance to play like a big gig playing keyboards in Piazzolla Electric project.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. You know, with